If you are really bad at saving money, okay, if you're bad with your money in general, you need to watch this training. I recently did it in my Facebook group. I've kind of brought it across to TikTok, split it up into 2 parts, so it's all in there. But basically, there are things that are actively holding you back from being able to reach your financial potential. So check this video out. You won't regret it. And I'll put part 2 up very, very soon. Now, recently I've delved into a fascinating concept of financial robbers. And if you've been watching any of my videos, you're probably familiar with that term, financial robbers. But these robbers are sneaky. They're insidious forces and undermine our ability to accumulate wealth and live the lives we truly deserve. And during more than 10 years in finance, I've had the opportunity to identify 8 major financial robbers that plague many of us on a daily basis. These robbers work against our best efforts, oftentimes without us even realizing it, and can be the biggest obstacle standing in the way of financial freedom or the financial future that you want. So no matter how hard we work, we may find ourselves falling short on our financial goals because of these financial robbers. Therefore, it's crucial that we identify them and take swift action to eliminate them from our lives as soon as possible. If you want to achieve true financial independence and enjoy the fruits of your labor while you're young enough to enjoy it, we must prioritize the identification and eradication of these financial robbers above all else. So without further ado, let's dive into the top 8 financial robbers and see how many of these you can recognize in your own life. Overspending. So it's human nature actually to spend every last dollar we make. That's why when we get a promotion or move to a better paying job, nothing really changes. Your life remains the same. Your consumption will always rise to meet your capacity, meaning that your spending will always meet your earning. And if we do nothing about this spending, when it's actively working against what we want to achieve, robbing us of our potential, it becomes a serious problem. We live in a world that wants us to spend every last dollar we have. So you need to understand your own emotional state and triggers to avoid spending that goes against your plan, against what you're trying to achieve. If you're someone who struggles with overspending, you've probably never really had a clear understanding of where your money's going, almost on purpose, like you're trying to avoid looking at it in detail, trying to avoid any sort of guilt or shame, but you are hyper aware that money is regularly being wasted. So what we do here in my program is we give people powerful tools to take control of their spending and get a firm understanding of the triggers that lead them to overspending. Cutting back doesn't work. See, most couples suck at saving because they believe that to save, they must deprive themselves of the things that they love, the things that they enjoy. This makes saving a painful experience and something that you have to endure. And if you're someone who is focused on cutting back, it makes the work hard, like so much harder than it has to be. Like you're pushing that big old boulder up a hill. You're just constantly having to push yourself. It also makes life cheap and boring, leaving you making choices to stay at home and do nothing, right? Nobody wants to live like this. And the truth is that you don't actually have to. See, when it comes to growing wealth, what we do here in my program is we focus on things that are more important, things that bring greater success, lasting change, and won't suck the joy out of your journey. They will actually add to the joy that you experience. Knowledge doesn't equal action. More knowledge actually won't change your financial situation. Bit hard to believe, but if knowledge was enough, all we would have to do is know how to budget our money more effectively, and then we would see success, right? But that's not what actually happens. Couples who struggle with this often find themselves in, multiple Facebook groups, bought multiple money books like Barefoot Investor or anything by Dave Ramsey, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or, even bought a couple of courses about budgeting or investing. It's like an overload of information, believing that breakthrough is just around the other side of understanding something else or gaining that little bit of extra knowledge. But what we do here in my program is that we stop trying to stuff more knowledge in an already crowded space and start to engineer key behaviors based on what you want to achieve, behaviors that actually facilitate change. Being apathetic. So being indifferent, having a lack of enthusiasm about your money, is going to ensure that you never really achieve anything worthwhile. If you have a few failures under your belt, if you've spent any amount of time not being able to make your money work or being able to get on top of it all, there is the potential for apathy to sneak in. If you're someone who is apathetic, you could right now be dealing with negative thoughts about your current financial situation, towards your money, or even your own ability and confidence within your own ability with money. Even crippled by a fear of failure or a fear that you're inferior, incompetent, inadequate, or worthless. Maybe something happened to you or someone that you care about, or you feel worn down just by tedious money tasks as well. So what we do here within my program is we look to break down everything into its simplest form, get you an understanding of your true financial potential, and work out how to make that happen, ensuring that we celebrate the wins we experience along the way together. Accountability is like having insurance for your goals, making sure you actually achieve them. It's powerful when it's harnessed in a healthy way, but a lack of accountability makes sure you never enjoy your wealth creation journey and you never achieve anything, basically. When people think about accountability, it's something that's not really appealing. It's like the unsexy side of trying to achieve something. Even more so if it's accountability for something we don't actually want or change that we believe will be hard. Yes, it's easy to exist without it, because you won't disappoint yourself or anyone else, but that's not any way to live. A couple who's struggling with a lack of accountability quite often has one partner feeling like they're the only one doing the work. Even sometimes like they are keeping their partner on a leash, giving them an allowance each pay, whilst trying to make their financial dreams happen, right? And honestly, feeling like they are probably the only one who wants to achieve the goal that's been set, and quite often sometimes they're the ones who've set that goal in the first place. But what we do here in my program, in this situation, is look to create a compelling picture of the financial future that you both actually want, ensuring that you've both bought into making that future happen. We also look to ensure that you both have an understanding of everything that is happening now, but also the things that need to be done on a regular basis.